In the mangrove marshes of West Africa, a dreadful being is said to lie submerged in the mud, waiting for something unfortunate enough to wander into its territory, unable to resist the monster's wrath. Welcome to Cryptid Corner, the series all things cryptids, and today we are going to cover the Ninki Nanka. The Ninki Nanka is a creature that stems from the folklore of West Africa, mainly that of Guinea, Senegal, and most notably, Gambia. That's right, we're exploring yet another cryptid from Africa, and if you've seen my other cryptid corners on African cryptids, you know these cryptids don't miss. This creature is said to live in the coastal mangrove marshes of the region, and it is a creature of many different descriptions, with its most common attributes being a long-necked creature with a long barrel-shaped body covered in shiny scales with stubby legs. Some reports describe it as possessing the body of a hippo or a crocodile, a giraffe-like neck, which tended to be crested with feathers of some sort, the head of a horse with three bizarre horns accompanying it, and some accounts also describe the creature similarly to a European dragon, or sometimes even Chinese dragons. And some of them can breathe fire, and others have a very, snake-like description with a mammalian head. The differing accounts is quite interesting, as it could imply it's not one, but perhaps multiple culprits behind the Ninki Nanka's identity. The Ninki Nanka are said to be most active during the rain season and spends its early years living in mangrove marshes, with its babies growing up and living in an anasonia tree, which kind of looks like something that some weird dragon creature would live in. These trees look awesome. Adults would mainly reside around and in the water and in the mud, sometimes even hiding beneath the mud and sludge, waiting for a meal to pass by. And as the Ninki Nanka grow older, it attains truly massive sizes, with them generally being about 30 feet long, while some can even exceed 100 feet in length. Some tellings claim that eventually the Ninki Nanka will grow so large that it has no other choice but to swim out into the ocean, where the only creature capable of laying hands on is Godzilla. But it doesn't stop there, as the Ninki Nanka has many supernatural powers, with the ability to control water itself, causing floods and mudslides. And if these giants weren't already overpowered, legend says that they also possessed an overpowered ability that can cause anyone who encounters the Ninki Nanka to fall ill and eventually die just from looking into its eyes, or just looking at it in general. In order to counter this, travelers would begin to carry mirrors, as the Ninki Nanka is not immune to its own gaze and fears its own reflection. This seems like a pretty good explanation as to why it lives in murkier mangrove marshes, and is more active during the rain season, so he can't see his weird old face. And given some reptilian features have been described, you better believe that the Ninki Nanka is often lumped in with neo-dinosaurs. Neodinosaurs are a very interesting subset of cryptozoology that are basically surviving dinosaurs that live in areas like jungles such as the Amazon, the Congo, and of course, like a lot of Africa outside of the Congo too. This mainly stems from older creationists who denied extinction, claiming that dinosaurs still lived on in places like jungles that, Europeans were not familiar with. And basically, any claim of a giant reptilian like creature just tended to be, theorized to be a surviving dinosaur. And Europeans would come with dinosaur sketches, and locals would be like, oh, yeah, that kind of looks like it. And they're like, ladies and gentlemen, we got him. So, yeah, there definitely is the accusation that this is some type of dinosaur. But stick with that, because I got a pretty interesting theory outside of dinosaurs, too. The Ninki Nanka has been told of for generations by the people who inhabit coastal West Africa, mainly as a more spiritual entity. But starting in the 1900s, Europeans would start to have their own encounters, leading many to question if it is a physical entity. One of the oldest incidents regarding this creature dates back to 1911, when a whole ass lake in Banjul was drained by the British when the locals pressured them to aid at besting a dragon that lied beneath the lake. Following this, they would put up a mirror near the lake in order to keep the beast away. And in my head, I just picture an absolutely massive, like, comically sized mirror just looking over the lake. And that image is just funny to me. In 1935, Dr. Thomas H. Dalrymple would witness several locals near the water terrified that something massive had been seen, with them believing it to have been a Ninki Nanka, with one of them confirming the next day that they had spotted the beast. Thomas would catch wind of the Ninki Nanka several times throughout the year, with him nearly pursuing the creature itself, but decided to cancel due to mosquitoes. And he might seem kind of like a wimp for doing this, but I do not blame him at all, as mosquitoes in this region are so dangerous, they might as well be an insta-kill giraffe dragon. In 1943, a man named Papajinda was said to have spotted a Ninki Nanka while performing night watch, catching a glimpse of its massive, scaly-covered body. He would spot it again 4 years later, although this time it would follow rapid health deterioration, with him only lasting another 2 weeks after this final encounter. Leaping all the way to 2002, a truck driver would be en route during a heavy downpour when, out of nowhere, a Ninki Nanka would cause the vehicle to crash, narrowly missing the driver and leaving a path of destruction before the man. In 2003, a park ranger in Kiang West National Park named Momomodu had claimed to have witnessed the Ninki Nanka for himself, falling dreadfully ill after the encounter, but being saved by an imam who healed the man with an herbal remedy. In 2006, the Center for Fortean Zoology, an organization with a focus on cryptozoology, would launch an expedition into Gambia led by cryptozoologist Richard Freeman to track down the Ninki Nanka, gathering stories such as that of Papajinda and Momomodu's encounters, along with another report that claimed that it resembled somewhat of a Chinese dragon. This expedition was large enough of a deal to get its own BBC article written on it, although, as there were no 2006 headlines of an African dragon being discovered, you can already tell that the expedition didn't result in one being found. But it still did raise awareness for the legend and would lead to many people who would have never learned about this learning about it down the road. Due to the varying descriptions of the Ninki Nanka, there are no shortage of theories as to just what this creature could be or what it represents. And here on Cryptid Corner, we start with the wildest ones first. Starting with the more reptilian description, many have lumped the Ninki Nanka in with many neo-dinosaurs in Africa, thinking it to be some sort of hostile or potentially even carnivorous sauropod, or given the horns, it could even be a ceratopsin, dinosaurs surviving in Africa. Although I feel we could get a bit of a wilder theory. Back in the Triassic period, when nature started getting all wacky with its creature design, a really bizarre reptile known as Tanystropheus would make its debut as one of the weirdest fellers in this era, if not ever. Tanystropheus was a coastal archosaur that is most well known for its long neck, which far exceeds the length of even its own body. Makes you wonder how long it takes them to swallow a fish. To our current understanding, Tanystropheus would frequent wetlands and coastlines in pursuit of fish and squid on the shoreline, using their long necks to reach into the water in pursuit of an unsuspecting meal. And although they didn't reach kaiju-like sizes, some Tanystropheus were capable of reaching over 20 feet in length. So, could a dinosaur, or Tanystropheus even, survive in the wetlands of Gambia? I do not think so. The only dinosaurs alive in the modern era are birds, and Tanystropheus went extinct even before the reign of the dinosaurs began, 237 million years ago, making their survival even more unlikely than some sauropod dinosaur. And yeah, good luck with them surviving all of those extinction events and the Ice Age and the aftermath of the Ice Age. Tenistrophius also weren't found in Africa, instead being found in North America, Europe, and Asia. But given how connected the Earth was at this point, I would not be surprised if they made their way into Africa. Regarding their more mammalian description, some think the Ninki Nanka to be some sort of giraffe relative, with some believing them to be a surviving member of Cephalotherium. Cephalotherium is an extinct genus under the Giraffidae family that resembles a mix of an okapi and a giraffe, with a giant, robust frame, a moderate long neck, and large ossicones on their heads. Not horns or antlers, giraffes are just built different. Cephalotherians were thought to have gone extinct around a million to 800,000 years ago due to the climate change and some human hunting. But perhaps some of them had survived in the mangrove marshes of West Africa, staying far away from people as they can be and goring anyone who gets close. I find this theory quite interesting that a specialized marshland giraffe, or even a giraffe relative, could survive undetected in Western Africa. But it is important to note that this region isn't some unexplored region like that of the Congo. In fact, Gambia is one of the most densely populated countries in all of Africa, and Senegal and Guinea's populations are well into the millions, meaning a giant ruminant would be hard to miss, even if submerged under the mud. Reeling into more plausible explanations, several living and mostly native animals have been proposed, most likely having their sizes exaggerated due to the shock of the encounter. Although they are not native to the region, elephant seals have been mentioned as a potential candidate, as bulls can reach giant sizes and are quite aggressive. The southern elephant seal is known to inhabit the waters far more south, but out of place encounters with these giants would leave anyone to think that they bumped into some kind of monster. And while still on the note of mammals, a mud bathing giraffe at night could also have inspired these encounters. I mean, just think of seeing its head just pop up towards you out of the dark, like, what are you doing? On like a very rainy night with low visibility. Like, you wouldn't even know what to think. And in regards to the more reptilian Ninki Nanka encounters, we don't have to look too far down the list of culprits, as giant reptilians are known to inhabit this region. Many believe the Ninki Nanka to be some sort of giant monitor lizard, similar to Australia's Megalania. And the largest lizard in the region, the Nile monitor, is already capable of growing to quite large sizes, exceeding 8 feet in length. But if the Nile monitor is too small for you, the Nile crocodile is always worth noting when bringing up large African reptiles, with some individuals reaching over 20 feet in length, exceeding 2,000 pounds, and are notorious for their tendency to put man on the menu. And for the more serpentine description, the African rock pythons got you covered, exceeding 16 feet in length and weighing over 120 pounds. But there really is no upper limit. So long as these reptilians have the food capable to sustain their gargantuan frames, it is possible for them to just keep getting bigger, lurking within the marshes in pursuit of their next meal. And these predators that inhabit this environment, along with the very dangerous animals like hippos, all are what probably inspired the legend of the Ninki Nanka in the first place. The Ninki Nanka is often spoken of as more of a spiritual entity than that of an animal, inspired by the dangers of the mangrove marshes. The detail of them becoming most active during the rain season is worth noting, as floods and mudslides are most likely to occur during this time of year. And floods and landslides seem to be the Ninki Nanka's whole deal. The danger that the Ninki Nanka presents definitely makes it feel like a cautionary tale for those wandering into the mangrove marshes, which were already loaded with dangerous animals during the rain season, where the water levels just keep getting higher and higher. After all, when you're in the thick of it, everybody knows, and when a pissed off hippo is near you, you pretty much died the second it looked at you. The Ninki Nanka is a legend of danger, symbolic of the land that is home to beastly herbivores and monstrous carnivores. But out of all of them, the most dangerous monster is the land itself, with mudslides and flooding wreaking havoc during the rain season. To simply label the Ninki Nanka as a neodinosaur doesn't do it or what it represents justice. And although I don't think a giraffe dragon is a real world threat, the mangroves of West Africa can be quite a dangerous place, hiding dangers far larger than you thought possible. And that is going to do it for the Ninki Nanka. I hope you guys liked it. And that's right, boys. We're back from the break. Just decided to take a little 2 week long gamer break. Did you miss me? I missed you. But I think we're back now. I think I'm ready to come on back. That February drought is gone. So, what better way to end the drought than to bring in the beast of the rain seasons, the Ninki Nanka, and talk about it over African cryptid, because these cryptids just don't miss. I will always love covering the cryptids of Africa. But let me know what you thought about it. Did you like this? Do you think that there's probably another explanation out there? Let me know in the comments below. Let me know what you thought about it. If you have any other cryptids that you'd like to recommend, I'm all ears, or video ideas in general. I always love seeing what y'all got to say. Some of the best recommendations come from y'all. So, again, I'd like to thank you all for watching. If you liked this video, drop a like. Make sure to subscribe and ring that bell so you get notified when we upload every time. And, yeah, we're back. Unless something pops up, which it shouldn't. We're going to have a Thursday video lined up too. But yeah, we're back to the twice a week schedule. So I'd like to thank you all for your patience. But we are back and the drought is over. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.